Good morning, good evening, good night, everyone. Welcome back to Lana's Little Things with me, Dr. Lana, specialist gerontologist, talking all things on living agelessly, bridging generational gaps, entrepreneurship life, and family caregiving. The heroes that you are. Tonight, I'm going to focus on the older couples, and we're going to talk about the other taboo subject. We already spoke about man and erectile dysfunction in November in our special series. And so I'll build up the ante and talk about sex and intimacy after 60 or for older couples. I know before you think, what is she going to say? What could she possibly know? There is research and do have some evidence with patients, so give a little grace for this space. And many of you have mentioned that this is something and a topic of concern. And do you know, just recently this week, I was asked by our local radio program to speak about the same topic. We are so shy about sex in general. And sex among older couples is almost a taboo still. And yet, with 60 being a new 50 and 70 being a new 60, and everyone living longer, healthier, having better access to health care, isn't sex a part of health, good health, mental health, physical health, emotional health? Why would we want to put that on the back burner? And it's not just patients either, it's not just persons who non medical persons. Doctors, the doctors, seem to be ashamed to also bring the topic up, adding to the stigma and the we shouldn't talk about these bedroom things outside the bedroom. But consider so many medications, herbal preparations, and compliance to adherence to those preparations. The fact that a person might be physically sedentary, obese, smoker, all of those come into the doctor's portfolio. So, and all of those can affect libido, affect erectile dysfunction, affect one's ability to have sex and intimacy with your partner as you get older. So, what are the reasons? What are we talking about? Why am I doing this now? Because it just has to be talked about. And I would love in this session, and leave your comments down below. What are some misconceptions that you find about sex that makes it taboo for you, for your generation, or for you in general? As a caregiver, do you find talking about mom or dad who are living together and wanting to be sexually active, that that's a thing? Or remember, many caregiving families tend to separate the couple. That seems to be a thing. I don't know if it's just a Caribbean thing, but it seems to be the thing to do. Oh, you'll take mom and I'll take dad. And these people have been together for ages. You don't know their lives. They ain't talking about their lives with you as their children. Did you include them in the decision? Did they want to maintain their intimacy? But were afraid to speak about it? Hmm. There's so much more here in this vessel. So let's see if we can break it down. And wherever you are, enjoy. Leave your comments. Remember to like and subscribe. There's so much more coming, and we broach a whole set of topics we've got to do with the serious ones in the same way as we deal with the fun ones. So let's just go. Let's just talk about it. So we must acknowledge that with aging does come certain conditions. Aging is a process, not a disease. Say that a million times, repeat that after me. Aging is a process, not a disease. So part of that process, things do change in men and women. And unfortunately, non communicable diseases, which come as a consequence of maybe not adhering to medication, maybe not having the best diet or lifestyle when you were younger, is now creeping up on you in your 60s and 70s. What you do there is going to affect you here. It's not rocket science. So, but now you're here and you're having the effects. What can you do? Do you want to? Here's how you can want to. But let's talk about what makes the changes uh, more prominent. So, must admit, let's go into a little bit of science. All right, let's talk about that a little bit. So, bear with me. So, according to several studies, and I collated a whole lot of them, they for females, it's decreased in general. It's decreased desire, decreased libido. It could also be surgical changes. Say they may have had a surgical alteration, a mastectomy, had breast cancer, and the family had to go through that. And now she feels, less of a woman, disfigured. Or a hysterectomy, and sometimes women still feel like less of a woman with a hysterectomy. Menopause can create vaginal dryness. It can create pain on having intercourse. That again creates a lack of desire to continue something that is uncomfortable. So there's that. If you are concerned about your blood pressure and something happening to you in the event, during the event of sexual intercourse, well, that fear and that uncertainty will also numb it down and reduce your desire to want to, your desire to go to be intimate with your partner. And let's not confuse, just to stick a pin here, let's not confuse intimacy and sex and make the same conclusion. Intimacy is basically the connection, the chemistry, the closeness, the partnership, the love, the history, just that feeling of familiarity and togetherness that a couple have developed over the years. That in itself, they've had children, that in itself, kindled, can just bring it back and bring them back to the place where we don't have children to worry about. We have more freedom. We can learn each other in a new way. Or if a spouse stays, for male or female, especially for males, so I'm more free. I don't have to feel guilty. You should not feel guilty going to seek another partner. It's as if you lost your spouse, you should just go in a corner and sit down and wait for the Lord. No, your life is living. That person sadly has passed, but you haven't. And so you want to be able to be sure that what the rest of your life is the best of your life. And sex is part of that best of your life. Let's just get it real. So for males, we talked about females. For males, I mean all males in this room, well, not me. All males in this room, hands up. What is the most common complaint to the doctor? Most common concern that stops you from taking your medication? The most common. By the way, doc, can you fix this? Or they just go to the pharmacy. What is that? ED, erectile dysfunction. Either lack of erection, lack of sustained erection, or inability to ejaculate. All of those affect a man's sex cycle. And therefore, tends to feel inadequate. I can't do the task anymore, so I'm just gonna, pretend like everything is okay and just go with the flow. Or just so that he wouldn't have to talk about it, make up something and say, well, I might have a headache or I don't want to do things. But remember too, gents, medication for non-communicable diseases. Just the basic reduced blood flow to the area, to every area in your body. If you're less active, if you smoke for sure, and if your prostate is enlarged, all those things can reduce your desire, reduce the effect of the erection occurring and still being sustained. Can those be addressed? Of course, those can be addressed and those can be uh, managed, even if not fixed. So, again, have the conversation. Don't just think, oh, there's the end of the road. No, I can't do nothing no more. Mm-mm. No, no. We got things that can help. We have things that can work with things. That's one of my favorite statements. So, that's the biology. Yes, we gotta deal with the biology. Lack of blood flow, hormonal influences, medications, non-communicable diseases, lack of activity overall, and your diet too. So many times you might not have a diet that is good in fluids. So hydration alone can improve your blood supply. How many older people drink adequate amounts of fluid? So bear in mind, you may need to do that. We do have to fit in the reality that dementia and cognitive impairment will also affect sexuality, because the connection that a person who has dementia, earlier or otherwise, will have with sex that they did not have before does change. Does that mean that all patients, all couples who might exhibit some form of dementia, be it that they're unable to have sexual intercourse and be happy? No, but again, it requires delicacy, it requires communication, it requires openness, it requires no shame, it requires no stigma attached when the physician or the family members come to speak. It will take a while to speak because this is not a topic that everyone, you're just gonna walk on the street and talk about your sex life, you know what I mean? Especially at 60 plus. No, no. But we're trying to change the conversation. We're going to unlearn what we've learned all these years and find it doable, fun. It's part of life. It's part of health. So that's part one. What is that about? We still have two more parts. So the influences, we talked about medication. What about society's influences on you? Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. This is inappropriate for older people, especially females have this pressure. You shouldn't want sex. You shouldn't want to have these desires. You shouldn't want to do anything. You shouldn't want to be going out dating. Mom, I mean, what, you, somebody coming in the house? Are you telling me that you're going to get married again? Why? You told me that. Dad, what do you need this for? Again, grace for this space. They're human too. They were once young and they are young at heart, and nothing is physically wrong with their ability. Either have the discussion or stay out the way. And that is just true. There are influences, and the cultural influences can make the stigma so much worse for older persons. So let's, again, in our minds as caregivers, in our minds as friends, in our minds as other family members, grace with this space. Understand that their feelings don't change. The cycle itself, the phases of sexual cycle, desire, excitement, and orgasm remain the same throughout the cycle. They don't change. From womb, well, womb, from puberty onward, pre-puberty, until way after, 70s, 80s. That desire, that cycle remains the same. So let's, you lose so many things. You're losing friends. You're losing your ability to walk around safely. Arthritic joints. I mean, you want to remove everything from your life? Not my intention. Not this gerontologist's intention. You want to live your life. For males who may have had, who have prostate problems, erectile dysfunction may also be a problem. It may also cause problems with erectile dysfunction. So again, that goes into medical territory, but also have a talk with your doctor. Just put that by the way, because that is like comes up every single time, and is one of the few things that would bring the males to the doctors. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, guys. So that covers the biology, the sociology, and the medicine. Let's talk about the good stuff. In a sort of a way. Misconception. No one, persons over 60 cannot have sex. Well, that's a myth, because they are quite active. They're quite capable. I've known couples in their 80s who are quite sexually active and doing well, and they're active otherwise, and they're happy in their lifestyle. Do we? Is there a thing where we don't want older persons to be happy? Is old age supposed to come with just sadness and resignation? No, let's not do that. What about the hormones and the stimulants that can be given? So looking at treatment now. What are hormones and treatment that can be given? So from some of these studies, you have Diet and exercise, fluids, hydration, a diet which will be good and increasing blood flow, herbal preparations. We got to be careful with some of those. So just speak to your doctor. Those that will increase blood flow. Just exercising and being active increases blood flow in general. So you find that most men and women who are sexually active have an increased libido, increased desire for sex, and it goes more smoothly. If it is vaginal dryness, there are lubricants. If it is erectile dysfunction because of certain conditions, patience, medication, communication, and time, that also would be understanding and empathy. Can't stress that enough because it's two, takes two to tango. True. Finally, I want to talk about the reasons why sexual intimacy is so important. You know, you see me on this podcast, this channel so many times, and my favorite love language is touch. Touch can heal. Touch can just restore. A touch from a friend, a hug from a friend, a heart hug, as I always say, can just do so much to reduce your blood pressure, influence your mood for better, stimulate the good feel hormones, which make you then want to be more active generally, which gives you like a zest for life. So touch, that's part of intimacy. It doesn't mean touching and fondling parts. Just a hands holding. Walk and hold hands and talk about past life. Stroke your partner's, your loved one's neck. You know, your favorite spaces. Touch their temples. You know, just talk kindly and let them know that you're the most important person to them in the world, and make it and be sincere. You will make it sincere and make it true. So finally, look at the benefits of sex. I had so many to write down. I had to use 2 pages. So what does it do? It improves your immune system. That's one. It calms your nerves. It calms your hormones. It That's two. Reduces your blood pressure. Reduces your Improves your blood sugar, which is say increases reduces stress, which reduces your blood pressure, reduces the risk of heart attack and stroke. Although some persons say, well, this person had a heart attack and a stroke because they went being sexually active. Well, that's somebody who was likely uncontrolled and maybe did not have the right medication. But in general, uh, you should be fine. It's good for heart health. It's good for physical health. This is sexual activity. It is good for your mental health, as you mentioned before, and the nondescript. It makes you happy. Who can say no to that? Are you ready for intimacy? Do you want more intimacy? How do you think you can get more intimacy? Would you like to talk some more with me or your doctor about it? And see if there's any other questions that you have. Feel free to email me at lana@lanaannmd.com. It'll be on the link below. I also have courses for family caregivers so you can understand what's happening. Courses for physicians, especially those of us who are burnt out, those who might be burnt out, and those who might want to have a deeper connection with their older clients to understand. Let us get the conversation going. So, link with me on my website, www.lanaslittlethings.com. We have so much more information. You can watch this over again. I'm linking some other channel, some other of my posts with it. But we want deeper intimacy, we want connection, we want to be happy. So from my heart to your heart, Dr. Lana, signing out saying sex, intimacy, and aging, they're not separate and apart. We can all bring them together. Everybody's heart health, mental health, and happiness. We'll talk later. Let me know what you think. Send me your queries. This is a discussion that can breach all discussions. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk later. All the best. Mwah.